Morning. I call to order the meeting of the Philadelphia City Commissioners Board of Elections for Wednesday, April 17, 2024. This meeting is in compliance under the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. The Philadelphia City Commissioners are a three-member bipartisan board of elected officials in charge of elections and voter registration for the County of Philadelphia. Each commissioner is elected to serve a four-year term that coincides with the municipal election for mayor and city council. The commissioners set and enforce departmental policies to administer voter registration and conduct elections in accordance with federal and state voter registration and election laws. The city commissioners were created by the Pennsylvania Assembly in 1711 with a focus on taxation and held various regulatory powers throughout the centuries. The commissioners started maintaining voter lists in 1799 and took on more election-related responsibilities, but didn't emerge into its current form until the adoption of Philadelphia's Home Rule Charter in 1951. Before we go to public comment, I would like to recognize Vice Chairwoman Deeley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Morning.
It is with profound sadness that I announce this morning the passing of part owner of the Green Bay Packers, former supervisor of elections, and my chief deputy from 2016 to 2022, and most importantly, my dear friend, Tim Dowling. He passed away this morning at 1:51 a.m. following an over 5-year battle with colorectal cancer. Timmy served this department for 35 years. He started in the spring of 1987 as a temp, brought in to help update the block ranges after the citywide redistricting of divisions. He rose through the ranks as supervisor of documents unit and onto the supervisor of elections. During a time of less structured commissioner meetings, Chairwoman Tartaglione would often call on Timmy to refute or correct public commenters or attorneys on the record. In the middle of meetings, which always provides entertainment when reviewing old transcripts. He also a writer of letters to the editor on a wide range of topics, something we put a stop to when he became my deputy. I say this a lot about this job. No matter what your experience is, nothing prepares you to be a commissioner in Philadelphia. People run for it talking about how they ran a registration drive once and how that qualifies them to be a commissioner. It does not. There is a lot you have to learn, and quickly, as your first election is a presidential election. After I won in 2015, Schmidt and Clark were each incumbents, and both had extremely experienced staffs. I knew that I needed someone who could go toe-to-toe with them, or I risked just getting bowled over. I surprised everyone by hiring Timmy, which instantly made me a player. Timmy showed me where the bathrooms were, so to speak. My first year, I had him sit across from me so that he could listen to every phone call that I made and every meeting that I took to make sure that I wasn't missing anything or saying anything incorrect. That is how he taught me. One call, one conversation at a time. Timmy was a hoarder of election information and paperwork. Despite multiple office moves and him being retired for 2 years, I am still finding his floppy disks all over my office. We would often marvel during office cleanups as he struggled to decide whether or not he could part with a copy of a fine letter from 15 years ago. Timmy could never remember his password. He would call to have it reset almost on a weekly basis, often blaming someone unknown person for changing it on him. Yet he had no trouble remembering other things. He was always prepared to stay at work through any natural disaster. At least that's how he explained all the cans of soup and the can opener we found in his desk after he retired. He was also profoundly proud of all the Philadelphia politicians that he fined for not filing their campaign finance reports timely, especially if they were a commissioner. The politicians might have paid their fines and moved on, but years later, the mere mention of their name could cause Timmy to recall with a smile the amount they were fined and for which reports they missed. Despite being a lifelong Philadelphian, he was a hater of the Eagles, whereas he frequently derided them, the Pigeons. Instead, he was a fan of the Green Bay Packers. In 2022, as a retirement gift, he became a one-share owner of the team. Timmy was a lover of all things Philadelphia elections, election law and election day. He loved his parents and his siblings. He loved all things Irish, including his father's paintings of Ireland and his granddaughter's Irish dancing performances. He loved his co-workers and continued to do some of their taxes even after retirement. He loved most of all his daughter Bridget and his grandchildren, Maeve, Margot, Miles, and Riley. He worked so hard to raise Bridget as a single father, sending her to the best schools in the city so that he could give her the best life. She grew up to become a nurse, which was his proudest accomplishment. He did not lose this fight to cancer because one does not lose to cancer. You cannot lose to something that does not fight fair. He fought back for 5 years. He did all he was supposed to do. Every surgery, every treatment, every trial that he could get into, no matter the side effects, it was all so that he could get another day with his grandchildren. So hug your loved ones and make sure to get your colonoscopy. There are even new, less invasive ways for you to do a test at home, which are similar to the COVID-19 home tests that we are all too familiar with. Similar to the COVID test, it will flag if you are at risk and should get additional screening. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist for more information. I ask you now for a moment of silence in my Chief Deputy Timmy's memory. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman Deeley. I would also like to extend my sincere condolences to the family of Tim Dowling and to you, Vice Chair Deeley, and your office. When I was thinking about becoming a traffic court judge, I had no political support. I just came there, me and my Ishmael, he was helping us out with our financial reports. He just talked to us. He gave us respect. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would still be involved in politics, because a lot of people wanted to see if we knew what we was doing. And Tim made sure that we knew what we was doing and we wasn't making mistakes that some larger endorsed campaigns were making. So Tim would definitely, surely be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner, thank you for those beautiful words, and I'm so sorry for your loss and all of our losses. Timmy was an amazing man, a great colleague, and the thing I'll take away more than anything else is how proud he was of Bridget and what he always told me, because he was so committed to this job, but that no matter what, he would never miss Bridget's soccer games. And he would leave and he would come back. And that's the type of person he was. So thank you for your beautiful words. And to Tim's family, we're sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Matter of fact, let's take a 5-minute recess. We'll come back. We will start off with public comments. Before beginning their comments, commenters shall state where they live or if they are not a resident of Philadelphia and that they are a Philadelphia taxpayer. Public comments is not an opportunity for dialogue or Q&A. It is public comment, a chance to tell us what you think. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. However, I may extend the time at my discretion. Public comment must contain matters on today's meeting agenda. Finally, it is my responsibility to preserve the order and decorum of the meetings as such. Profane, slanderous, discriminatory, or personal attacks will not be tolerated. If you wish to make a public objection to a perceived sunshine violation, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Anyone wishing to offer public comment, please step forward. Having no public commenters, we will now move to report from Secretary Bluestein for email public comments.
There were no public comments emailed by 9:45 a.m.
Thank you, Secretary Bluestein. We will now proceed to old business. We have a report from our Directors of Election Administration and Operations, which will be reported by Joseph Lynch and Stephanie Reid.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Real quick, I just want to thank everyone for the kind words for Timmy, on behalf of Timmy, because he was not only a co-worker of mine, but a dear friend and neighbor for over 30 years. And plus, he was a great father to his daughter, Bridget. So my condolences go out to his family. Thanks, everyone. Good morning, Commissioners. This is our weekly sunshine update for April 10th, 2024. For our voter registration report, we processed a total of 101,737 registration applications so far. Out of these, 12,009 were sent to us on paper. The staff are currently proofing and making any necessary corrections. We sent out 21,304 ID cards last week. We are mailing 2,017 ID cards for emergency polling place changes. We are holding trainings for employees on the 17th with the electronic poll books and voting machines. For the county board report, as of yesterday, we have approved a total of 91,262 vote by mail applications, which is 3,451 added from last week's total. Of those, 52,301 are paper applications and 38,961 are electronic applications. This includes civilian, overseas, and military voters. We have mailed out a total of 90,811 mail-in and absentee ballots. The Philadelphia County Board of Elections office in City Hall, room 140, open for in-person ballot requests and replacements and has serviced over 165 visitors since March 28th. The deadline to apply for mail-in ballots was yesterday, April 16th. Voters can still request a replacement ballot until Election Day, Tuesday, April 23rd. If an emergency comes up, you may submit an emergency application to the County Board of Elections office. To receive an emergency absentee ballot, you must provide a valid emergency reason on your application. Voters who are over the age of 65 or living with a permanent disability may also obtain an emergency alternative ballot if their polling place is not fully handicap accessible. The County Board of Elections office will remain open until Election Day. Office hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and on Election Day, they will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Further information is available on our website at vote.phila.gov. ID verification letters have gone out to voters that either did not include the required proof of identification on their absentee/mail-in ballot application, or their proof of identification could not be verified by the County Board of Elections office. Voters who have received this letter may submit their proof of ID to the County Board of Elections via email at phillyelections@phila.gov, fax, U.S. mail, telephone, or in person. Voters have until 5 p.m. on April 29th to return their proof of identification. For our election board report, confirmation calls and emails for board workers continue. We have confirmed a total of 287 board workers with 722 declines and left messages for 287, sorry. Additionally, we currently have 5,517 poll workers registered for training. So far, 5,517 had attended seminar trainings, and 2,549 have attended express poll refresher training sessions. With the online training now accessible, 1,648 poll workers have completed training online. The polling place unit has been confirming locations, and they currently have confirmed 689 polling locations. They continue to monitor all the sites. We have made significant progress with satellite election offices. The lease for District 7 lease was executed, and the landlord is beginning construction build-out for the office. For District 4 and 8, the letter of intent was executed. We now have 5 locations in lease draft phase. For District 1, we continue to coordinate between city departments to facilitate the use of their space. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before beginning, I'd also like to just express my deepest condolences to Vice Chair Deeley, all the commissioners, and all of my colleagues who knew and loved Timmy. I didn't know him well, but I will say you didn't have to know him well to know what a special person he was, and his mark will be on this office for many, many years to come. I'm pleased to present an overview of our recent activities across various departments in our weekly administration report for April 17th, 2024. In security, our newly redesigned credentials have been distributed to staff and vendors, and observer requests are now ready to be accepted. Finalized processes and procedures for credentialing are ready, and emergency security plans are in their concluding stages with submissions to OEM for review and inclusion in their emergency action plan. Last week's white powder training was well received. The staff able to participate commented on multiple points they've learned, and we're grateful to have been included in the training. A recording is now accessible for those who couldn't attend the previous session. Moving on to communications, various initiatives are in process. Social media efforts include posts regarding mail ballot deadlines and mobile drop-off events. Advertising strategies encompassed ad builds in various local journals and digital platforms, while materials preparations involved designing name tags and ensuring sufficient supplies for election-related activities. Our engagement team has been hosting tabling events at multiple locations, including adult daycares and local businesses, for voter engagement and education. Distribution of election materials continued with ongoing efforts to recruit poll workers and bilingual interpreters. Human resources updates include our ongoing hiring efforts with positions for clerks. We've made significant progress in hiring, with most positions filled or in the process of being filled. Our current workforce totals 186 employees, consisting of 157 civil service employees and 29 exempts. Within the bulk of the civil service roles, we have 54 clerk 1s, 21 clerk 2s, 12 clerk 3s, and 15 trades helper positions. We're focused on continuing new hire activities as well as planning for surge staffing. Regarding surge staffing, training for polling place liaisons saw strong participation exceeding previous year's numbers. RTC staffing is nearly complete, with efforts ongoing to finalize staffing at one location. Confirmation rates for e-car drivers are high, although awaiting one department's support. Dropbox locker availability has been confirmed, and overall sign-up numbers remain robust. Our information technology team has continued with the testing of e-poll books. Our new tech support specialist started on Monday. Welcome. And preparations for the call center are underway alongside the provision of day-to-day IT support. I've been amazed to see how our team has come together to prepare for next week's election. I want to express my appreciation to all the hardworking staff across each unit in our department for their hard work and dedication. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question of the Director of Election Administration?
Yes, you may.
Ms. Reid, last week I went up to our satellite office on Market Street to get my mail ballot. After I finished marking my ballot, putting it in a secrecy envelope, signing and correctly dating it, I went to look for the staffer with the ballot box to review my envelope before I put it in. But there was no staffer with a ballot box. I was told to put it in the drop box outside. As you know, this check is a key step to reduce the number of ballots and one of the reasons why we want satellite offices. Why Why was this important position eliminated from the satellite office?
Well, I mean, so I don't oversee the satellite offices, Joe does, but I mean, I think that we should have someone at the Dropbox reviewing that. That was the intention, so if there was not someone there, we will address that immediately.
Thank you.
Do you, and I just want to, in case he wants to add something, I don't want to speak for him.
Yes, Commissioner, Stephanie is correct. We should have had somebody at that door looking that over, but we don't have the, like we had in 2020, we don't have the bag inside the satellite office. We have the Dropbox out front. That's what that's for. But somebody should overlook that envelope, make sure it's filled out correctly, and then proceed to the Dropbox that's outside the location. So I apologize. We'll work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I would add to that, make sure that we have a staffer, sitting there when you come out of that egress, to actually take a look at that. And maybe have the stickers there too, before they come out.
I agree. Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Bluestein, did you have any questions?
I have none, thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to the next agenda item. I motion to approve the 2024 primary election ballot and canvass procedures. Is there a second?
Second.
Before proceeding to vote, does any commissioner have any comments regarding this motion?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to amend your motion to adopt the 2024 primary election ballot canvass procedures. I believe the current language in footnote 2 relating to the denying of credential requests in the motion before the board is overly broad and undefined. I'm concerned that this language could result in qualified observers being denied their rights to observe the pre-canvass and canvass of ballots based on political motivations. I therefore move that the 2024 primary election ballot canvass procedures motion in footnote 2 be amended by striking the word risk and replacing it with the words genuine threat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Hearing no seconds, we will proceed to vote. But before that, I would like to make a comment to read the exact footnote as it is. It says a credential request may be denied for individuals who pose a risk to board staff or board electoral processes. Octavius Catto was assassinated on Election Day for organizing African Americans for the right to vote. Medgar Evers was also assassinated. Martin Luther King. The list goes on and on. Had to pay, some people used to have to pay poll taxes. Some people would lose their jobs. Some people would face violence. There was also lynchings as well. And the lynchings were so bad that sometimes they would leave the body in a town for up to a year. The citizens of that town or municipality would not have to see that body, the rotten body. And it's associated with racism. So these threats is our responsibility, I believe, as a board, for us to be able to deny individuals who want to deny elections. It's larger than a partisan issue. It's about democracy. And I applaud this board that we do approve this to protect our workers and to protect democracy. Secretary Bluestein, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Deeley.
I vote aye.
I vote nay. Chairman Sabir.
I vote aye. The motion carries. We will now move to the other portion of our agenda. Vice Chairwoman Deeley, do you have any other business to be raised at this meeting?
I do not, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Secretary Bluestein, do you have any business to be carried at this meeting?
I have none.
Thank you, Commissioners. Hearing no other business, I motion to adjourn this meeting, and there's a second.
Second.
Secretary Bluestein, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Deeley.
Aye.
I vote aye. Chairman Sabir.
Aye. This meeting's adjourned.